Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here, and welcome to Movie Reviews, where we review movies. Today I'm going to talk to you about Paddleton, which is a new movie on Netflix from Mark Duplass and Alex Lehman. Alex Lehman is the director. Mark Duplass co-wrote it with him, and also co-stars Ray Romano. The movie is about Mark Duplass's character is diagnosed with cancer, and Ray Romano plays his best buddy. It's pretty much incurable, and he decides that he's going to end it when he wants to. And Ray Romano's character has to learn to deal with the fact that his friend is dying. And it's a really goddamn sad movie. And a lot of people say, oh, this is a nice little movie. It's a minor movie, but I don't understand that, because I don't see in what way a movie that is putting you in the shoes of someone who's dying or someone who is witnessing their best friend die is a minor movie, because for me, this movie was a substantial emotional experience. Movies very rarely have the kind of impact that this had on me. This movie pretty much destroyed me while I was watching it. Part of what makes this movie so devastating is that this relationship between these two is about the strongest relationship you could have between two human beings. They might just be friends and neighbors, but there are moments in this movie where they're mistaken for a couple, or, an example where they're closer than siblings, because it doesn't matter that they're just friends and that they're not in a relationship or that they're not family. It doesn't matter. It could be, you could substitute any of those things and the emotional connection would still be the same. You can relate your relationship with them to the closest people in your life. And then you're watching as one of these people is dying. I think the acting in this movie was just fucking phenomenal. One thing technically that's interesting about this movie is how the dialogue was done. It's pretty much all improvisation. They've outlined what points they want to hit, I guess. They outline the scenes, but the characters, Ray Romano and Mark Duplass are improvising off of each other. It's so amazing, the result that has in this movie, because the way that they'll almost say something but then decide not to say it, and what they were going to say. Stuff like that. Or the way that they might draw out a syllable might tell you more about what they're saying than the words itself. And as depressing as this movie is, it's actually really funny at times. I laughed out loud several times. It's not funny because this is the punchline, or because the thing he said was funny. It's because the way that he said it was funny. This character is being funny, kind of the spontaneous way that something comes out of somebody's mouth is funny, that you could not get if it was written. The conversations that they have feel like real conversations, real dumb conversations that people have with each other. Even when they're just kind of teasing each other or talking about stupid shit, it feels so real. I don't need them to talk about anything else. I don't need them to give me information. They talk about dumb shit. A lot of people might, criticize the movie because, there's a lot of meandering conversations that don't really mean anything, but it's just trying to give you what people talk about. It illustrates their friendship, and it illustrates the relationship they have. Maybe they're not talking about anything important, but you're still feeling the relationship, and I think that's all that matters. A lot of people feel that Mark Duplass's character is a protagonist, but to me, and maybe this is subjective, Ray Romano's character was more the protagonist, because I felt what he was feeling. How is he going to deal with his friend leaving this world without him? And what's he going to do afterwards? Because these characters, they have routines. They eat frozen pizza every day. They watch, kung fu movies together. They hang out nearly the whole time, and they play Paddleton, which is a game they invented, which is kind of some version of racquetball or wall ball, where they hit a ball and they try to get it into a bucket. The relationship these two have is just so quirky and weird, but it feels so honest. It just feels so real to, all the quirks that any close relationship has. Ray Romano's character will just think of something random and he'll just tell it to Mark Duplass, and it's not important. I don't know, it just felt so honest to me. And that's part of what made the movie so sad, was that the relationship felt so real and someone's dying. It's one of the closest experiences you could maybe have to actually living something like this without living it. It kind of lets you live that the way that you want to. There are funny moments, but if you're not feeling you want to laugh because you're just kind of feeling sad at this point, it feels like the movie respects that in you to make the choice to not laugh. Or maybe if you think that something's funny that's kind of sad, everything just feels like It's really respectful of the audience's subjective experience of the movie. It doesn't necessarily lend itself to overanalyzing. Like, there are maybe some things that you could analyze in the movie, like character arcs or something, but it's not going to give you like a new perspective on like what death means or what it like existentially. But it also feels honest that it doesn't do that, because like if somebody were actually dying in your life, it's not like it's about giving you an understanding of that. Sometimes it just sucks, and you're watching a movie that just kind of like, in some ways, just like sucks to be watching it, but it was a journey that I was glad to be on despite like how sad it gets. I think the direction was really effective. The cinematography and everything was just like tonally perfect and fit the mood right. It, you know, the spontaneity, sometimes like the way that the camera's moving just felt perfect. And there are just some scenes in this movie that are some of the saddest that you may ever watch. Like, if you're really sucked into this movie and you're absorbing it, like, this is like an extremely close friendship. I have, you know, close relationships to people like this, and like I'm putting myself in the shoes of somebody who is watching their best friend like having to die. So if you can imagine that, like if you can get sucked into the movie as it hopes that you will be, as I think I did, I think I got the full experience out of this movie, like you will be crushed by it. I think it's going to be probably one of the best movies of 2019. It'll probably crack my top 10. I think that Ray Romano should get like nominated for Best Actor, but obviously that will never happen. One of the most emotional movies I've ever seen, and I don't really know why people are saying like, oh, this is just like a slight movie. Like, no, this is like pure cinema. Because if cinema is supposed to take you into a character's journey and make you feel like what a relationship is to the people involved and make you feel like these characters are real and going through something real and that they behave like people, you feel like you're watching reality and being emotionally affected by that, that's what movies are supposed to do, in my opinion. Like, they don't need to do anything else. And you might say that it's just like kind of being like obviously a tearjerker, but this does happen in real life. Like, people do go through experiences that are this traumatic, and you're watching one of them. It was an amazing experience. I will not forget it. So I would definitely encourage you to watch the movie unless you really like don't feel like being sad. I just think that it's also worth watching just to watch how they do the improvisation in this movie. Such an impactful experience. I just have to give it a 10. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry that this shirt doesn't really lend itself to talking about a really sad movie, but you know what? Sometimes, even though things are sad, as the movie shows, there's still room for humor. And I'll leave you with that.